my name's Kate.
And I'm Lydia.
And we're from the Inside Out for Kids team with Launceston City Mission.
Inside Out for Kids runs in the north and the northwest of the state, and it's all about building emotional wellbeing in our kids. And so we have a range of activities. We take programs into your schools, this primary school age, and then we run parent and community information sessions and professional learning opportunities for school staff and those support people in schools.
So you're listening to us talk today because your school community has booked some of our facilitators to come out and deliver the Early Childhood Emotional Literacy program. So this program is 5 sessions long, and we come into the classroom every week for 45 minutes, and we bring our crafts and our picture books and our teddies. We play games with the kids, and we really zone in on things like what our bodies are doing in all the different emotional states that we need to experience as humans. We talk a little bit about how emotions change when things change in our lives, and we really focus in with the kids on the emotions of anger and worry, because they're tricky ones to manage. And we finish up with the kids with talking about feeling safe and loved and being able to identify the people and the places that really build that sense of resilience and belonging in them.
That's really important for kids under the age of 7 to really build this emotional wellbeing, and so we offer this program from the ages of kinder through to grade 2.
Emotional literacy is the ability to read our bodies and our faces. So all of our emotions have a set of body cues attached to them, and when we know what they are and we recognise them, we can actually start to say in words, I feel angry or I feel sad. And being able to say those things is actually what helps us manage our emotions. So emotional literacy is being able to read your body and to identify what emotion you're having, and then being able to manage it appropriately in social settings. It also includes being able to read other people's body languages so that you can recognise their emotions and help them appropriately as well. So it's a really important skill, and it's one of the skills that we can learn. In the past, people thought maybe you were born a people person and you just had this ability to know how people felt or know how you felt yourself, but we can actually learn it through activities that we do and things that we do in the classroom to be able to manage it better. And that's part of the role that you play as parents as well, is to increase the ability to know those words and for kids to recognise their body cues and their faces. So one of the interesting things to know about the way our brain grows as we get older is that the part of the brain that's responsible for language and the words that we use develops later than the part of our brain that feels emotions and expresses them. So if you're a parent, you will recognise this because some really big emotions might be happening at home before your children have the ability to tell you why or what's happening. So this is when things like meltdowns happen because they've got the green cup instead of the blue cup and things like that. The emotional part of our brain is able to respond to things, but the part of our brain which manages our self-control and our decision making is still growing. So we have really big emotions without always the skills to manage them. So what we're trying to do is to put some language to those big emotions with the kids. If they can say, I feel angry because, or I feel really upset because, it's actually a way of helping them manage the emotions that they have before they leak out sideways, is what we call. If we can't put the way we feel into words and tell somebody and get help and come up with a way of solving the problem, it tends to come out anyway in other ways, like throwing things or being unkind to siblings, or having to scream or cry. So hopefully attaching some words to the emotions that our kids are feeling in their bodies will really help them with being able to express that in a healthy way.
Well, there are 2 main objectives in the Early Childhood Emotional Literacy program, and the first objective is that we help kids recognise emotions on faces. So if you come along to one of our programs, you'll notice us using a lot of facial expressions, eyebrows, and our mouth to show emotional expression, but we'll also use Play-Doh, we'll use games, we'll use activities and songs to really help get across this in a really interactive and fun way. We use emojis a lot because they're a really simple way to show emotions on faces, and we also have a lot of fun doing activities with our body to show what it feels like in our body to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel worried, but also to feel happy and to feel loved. The second objective is to really try and help kids understand and be able to develop really safe strategies for what to do with their emotions. And so we say that energy is like e-emotion. There's energy and motion. And so when we have emotions, we have energy that we need to do something with. And so we talk to kids and they come up with lots of ideas about the different things that they can do with that energy that they have with their emotions. Some of the behaviours we might see are them lashing out or hiding, or those kind of ways to get out noise and movement. But when we think of some creative ways to get out that energy that have some boundaries around them, they think of things like going on the trampoline, of riding their bike, of even using poppet toys, but all of those things that use our body to get out the energy that we need to when we're having really big emotions. And we also teach them deep breathing strategies, which are really particularly effective when we have those big emotions of anger or being really nervous or worried. And so now we're going to look a bit more at those deep breathing strategies.
So one of the strategies we like to teach the kids in this program is the strategy of deep breathing, because deep breathing, the research has shown, can really help us re-engage the part of our brain where our words are kept. So when we're having really big emotions and we don't know how to let that out, if we can do some deep breathing, it can help that part of our brain re-engage, and it can help calm the body down so that your child can actually work with you on talking through what's happening. So one of the things that we do as parents though is we say to our kids, just take a deep breath, and they go, and then we'll say, well, that didn't help. And there's a few things that we'd really like you to remember about using any kind of deep breathing strategies with our kids. The first one is that we actually do need to do it more than once. So we say to the kids 5 big breaths or 2 minutes worth. Really helps the physical side of our body and our emotions to calm down. The second thing that's really important for little kids to know is that when you do take a deep breath, you don't just take it from your shoulders. Sometimes we see kids go like this. And that's not actually a deep breath because the air needs to go all the way down to their belly button. So it's really helpful for kids if they breathe in through their nose and then out through their mouth to get the air to go all the way down to the bottom of the lungs where it needs to go. And the third thing we'd love you to remember is that the exhale needs to be longer than the inhale for the body to register that the deep breathing is helping. So when we teach the kids this strategy in the Inside Out for Kids program, we usually recommend that they breathe in for 3 seconds, they hold it for 4 seconds, and then they breathe it out for 5 seconds. So sometimes when we're teaching the kids how to do this, we'll use different kinds of metaphors or examples. So like blowing up a balloon. And then the balloon gets bigger as they do a nice long breath out. Or it can be blowing out a candle, or blowing bubbles is another one that you can use as an example. And sometimes we even use smelling flowers to help them to breathe in, and then cooling down our hot chocolates to breathe out. So you can use this strategy at home when your kids are really overwhelmed, really angry, or you feel like they're really anxious or nervous about something and the words are stuck. If you do some deep breathing with them and remind them of that, it might help them to calm their body down and be able to just talk about what's happening for them. So one of the things that we really hope this video achieves for you is how can we support our emotional literacy of our under 7s at home? So we've got 4 steps that we'd like to talk to you about in a way that can really expand the learning that they've already done and to keep them growing in recognising their emotions and being able to talk to them. So the first thing is just to notice. So as the adults in their world, we have more experience with emotions and what they do with our body, so we recognise them more easily. So making sure that we're paying attention to all of our child's cues, to their faces, to their bodies. And sometimes to do that, we really need to connect with them. So when they're feeling quite emotional, when they're not sure what's going on, but there's a lot of energy in their body, one of the things we can do is just to get down to their level. Maggie Dent, who's a great Australian psychologist, she calls this the parental pause. Sometimes when our kids have big emotions, it actually makes big emotions in us as well, and it's harder for us to concentrate on them and to help them in their moment of need. So if we can just steady ourselves by taking a few seconds to remind ourselves that what they really need from us now is our presence, and then get down to their level and really show that we see them and we see what's happening on their body and their face, that will go a really long way to calming them down.
So after taking that pause and getting down to their level, something that's really helpful is to label the emotion that you are seeing in them, and also the body cues that you're reading. So an example would be saying, "Are you feeling sad? I can see that you've got some tears in your eyes." Or, "Are you feeling really angry? I've noticed that your fists are really scrunched up." So labelling the emotion and then just reading the body cues and relaying that back to them.
And then we try and accept all emotions as they come, because emotions are a human thing. And we always say to the kids, there's no good emotions and bad emotions. They are just reactions to the things that are happening around you. So a way of doing that as a parent is just to say, you know what, it's okay to feel sad sometimes. Everybody feels sad sometimes. So letting them know that you aren't ruffled by the different emotions they're having and experiencing is a really safe thing for kids. And then they're able to calm down a little bit and maybe even able to use some more words with you about what caused that emotion.
They feel seen and heard then. And then, of course, it is important to set some boundaries and to problem solve with them. So even when you're sad or even when you're angry, yelling at your brother is probably not going to help. But something we could do is go outside and do something together while you calm down. Go on the trampoline, go for a walk, do some deep breathing outside, and then come back and look at what we can do to solve this problem. These are some of the things that the kids have been learning in the early childhood emotional literacy program, and we hope that they've been really helpful tips for you as well. It's a really strong thing for there to be a common message from the communities programs that we work in, for the school, for the kids in the programs, and for you if you're at home, because we just all want our kids to be healthy and happy and resilient as they move from being a kid into being an adult.
So thank you for watching all the way through. We hope the program has been a blessing to your family and to your school community. We hope that some of the crafts have made their way home, and it's our great privilege to be able to work with children and to do what we do. So thank you for letting us spend that time with your kids.
Yeah, thank you.